Good morning, I'm Maiki Oreta, and you're watching Business 360, where we break down the numbers, connect the dots, and give you the developments and the insights you need to navigate, adapt, and lead. Let's dive right in. Budget Secretary Amenah Pangandaman says the country's growth goals are still attainable. The Bureau of Internal Revenue is going after large online sellers suspected of underreporting billions worth of sales. And another strong earthquake rocks southern Philippines, this time in Surigao del Norte. First, let's take a look at how global financial markets performed overnight. Wall Street ended lower as trouble in regional banks added to growing concerns over U.S.-China trade tensions. Shares of Zions Bank Corporation tumbled after the bank reported unexpected losses on 2 California loans, fueling fears of hidden credit stress amid high interest rates. Western Alliance also slumped after filing a fraud lawsuit against one of its borrowers, deepening investor worries that the regional banking sector may be facing new financial strains.
Stocks are sputtering a little bit based on a handful of banks coming out just in the latter half of the day, talking about even more credit losses than what's occurred over the last month. You had Tricolor, you had First Brands, now you have Zions Bank and Western Alliance coming out, posting much higher losses and much higher reserves than the market was expecting due to potential credit losses on some of their lending portfolio.
Both the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 fell 0.6%, while the Nasdaq dropped nearly 0.5%. Over in Europe, markets closed higher. The UK's FTSE up by 0.1%, Germany's DAX higher by 0.4%, and France's CAC 40 up by 1.4%. Here at home, the economy may be losing some momentum, but officials say growth is still within reach. Budget Secretary Amenah Pangandaman says spending is expected to normalize in the fourth quarter. She notes, however, that public infrastructure outlays may temporarily slow. This as agencies, particularly the Public Works Department, review their projects to avoid a repeat of the flood control scandal. Finance Chief Ralph Recto earlier warned that growth likely cooled in the third quarter and could stay soft until early next year. Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, meanwhile, said that the Development Budget Coordination Committee will wait for third quarter data next month before adjusting targets. The Bureau of Internal Revenue is going after the digital giants, large online sellers accused of underreporting billions in sales. The IR Commissioner Romeo Jude Lumagi says that the agency is now verifying whether declared sales match actual transactions after receiving complaints from other big online sellers. He revealed reports of companies with sales in the hundreds of millions, even billions of pesos, but paying very little in taxes. Lumagi clarified that the probe is not aimed at small online sellers, but at major e-commerce players whose reported sales don't align with platform data or with their filed BIR returns. The commissioner warns that businesses found to have underpaid taxes may face audits and tax evasion cases with penalties ranging from fines to jail time, depending on the severity of the violation. Europe is eyeing a stronger foothold in the Philippines as it seeks new growth markets here in Asia. The European Union is pushing to become one of the country's top 5 sources of foreign investment as business leaders call for stronger execution of economic reforms. At the European Philippines Business Dialogue, the European Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines, or ECCP, noted that Europe has yet to break into the country's top 5 investment sources. The group said more consistent reform implementation is needed to attract greater European capital. The Board of Investments reported that investment promotion agencies approved over 480 billion pesos worth of projects in the first half of 2025. Around 20% of that came from Singapore, South Korea, the United States, China, and Japan. Authorities stress that while new policies have been put in place, stronger follow-through is essential to turning commitments into jobs and growth. Officials added that deeper ties with European investors could help diversify capital sources and support the country's economic targets. A strong quake rocked Surigao del Norte this morning, rattling parts of Mindanao. PHIVOLCS reported a magnitude 6 tectonic earthquake that struck General Luna, Surigao del Norte at 7:03 a.m. It had a depth of 28 kilometers and an epicenter 13 kilometers southeast of the town. Intensity 4 shaking was felt in Cabadabaran City, Agusan del Norte, Surigao City, and parts of southern Leyte. Authorities are warning of possible damage and aftershocks following the quake. The flood control scandal is entering a crucial phase as the ombudsman moves to file charges and fast-track convictions in one of the biggest corruption cases to rock the public works sector in years. Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla says verdicts could come as early as next year or even within a month if courts allow continuous trials. Remulla confirmed plans to file charges against contractor couple Curly and Sara Discaya and former Ombudsman Zaldico, initially for malversation with possible plunder and tax evasion cases to follow. He also claimed the Discayas are protecting Senator Bongo, pointing to their joint venture with CLTG Builders owned by Go's father. Remulla said strong cases can still proceed even without the couple's testimony after they withdrew cooperation when denied blanket immunity. The DPWH is now working with the Ombudsman to review contracts signed during the Duterte administration, part of a wider government push to reclaim billions in public funds, restore credibility in infrastructure spending, and rebuild trust in governance. As the world races deeper into the digital age, the Philippines is scrambling to catch up. And that urgency takes center stage at the 51st Philippine Business Conference and Expo, the flagship event of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or PCCI. Leading this year's drive is Converge ICT CEO Dennis Anthony Uy, entrepreneur and digital transformation champion, who's made it his mission to bridge the digital divide and turn connectivity into national competitiveness. He joins us now to talk about the vision, the challenges, and the opportunities ahead, and why digital readiness is fast becoming a key test of national strength. Hi, Dennis. Good morning, and thanks for being here with us.
Hi, good morning, Maiki. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, of course, you are our modern-day industrialist, Dennis, so it's good to hear from you. Okay, let's start. Dennis, you've helped expand broadband access nationwide, and we're so grateful for that. But there's still a lot of work to be done. According to the latest IMD World Digital Competitiveness Rankings, the Philippines ranks near the bottom, 61st out of 67 economies globally, and 13th out of 14 in Asia, just ahead of Mongolia. Medyo kulela tayo. Dennis, from your perspective, where do we really stand today in terms of overall internet access? And how connected is the Philippines, our archipelago right now?
Yeah, actually, the connectivity right now in Philippines, we improved this past few years, no? Especially, it's very challenging. You mentioned about archipelago, with so many islands, no? Luckily, we have more than 7,000 islands. So we actually, in fiber broadband, we connected almost 60-70% of our home pass already in the Philippines. No? The other one is the connectivity. Other segment is mobile. No? So mobile, you have to see in the dense cities, but outside the quality is not there, right? So that's another issue. So if you're talking about the whole connectivity, I think we are reaching close to about 50% home in terms of home connected. So I think we need to put more effort. This is a basic. Without connectivity, how you can have digital transform? This is the basic requirement of the basic infrastructure to able to have digitalization of the country.
That's right. Internet is a basic utility. It's as essential as water and power. But right now, we have a hybrid mix. We have fiber, we have satellite, we've got wireless already in place. What will it take to fully connect the entire archipelago?
Actually, if you want to really make this happen, all the technologies with us today, okay? In terms of infra, we are already in place. Those who cannot reach, because we have so many small islands, we can put the satellite there and put the small access to the small community, right? because the big operator, there's no business affordable economic of sense to put the huge of infrastructure cost and return is not there. That's why the government coming in, right? Which is the ICT headed by even the president itself. He want to be connected. All the Filipinos should be that behind, no? So in fact, the DICT started put all this GIDA, the remote sites. They started putting thousands of daily access points to barangay, to small communities. That is the access to the far-flung barangays. No? In terms of wireless, we need to improve more in terms of quality, in terms of penetration, and more cell sites. I think we are really behind compared. You mentioned we are really behind among the Asian peers. Fiber, I think we are already in place. I think we are very strong now because after we massively roll out. In fact, I still rolling out additional 2 million ports coming years to able to catch up those who area don't have fiber.
Where do we stand today, Dennis, in terms of internet penetration and the actual quality of that connectivity? Kasi here in Metro Manila, sometimes you're in the city already, and sometimes even in your own home, mahina ang connection. Paano pa kaya sa mga more remote areas?
There's a lot of even the building parking areas. Even some because of this you need to put more radios, right? So access. And capex here is not small. It's really big investment. In terms of right of way, is a challenge of the all telcos. No? So imagine in my subdivision, still some opposition of the homeowners. They are not allowed of using this radio. Without radio, how I can reach to you, right? So they raise a lot of cancer, have the cancer issue, or the health issues, or whatever. This is we need to educate to bring this education to the consumer. If you want to have a better connection, you need the government to come in to make sure access to the right of way, access to the. I think this is we need to address right away to able to catch up as soon as possible.
Yeah, right of way, that's crucial for any infrastructure initiative. Moving forward, we've got the Konektadong Pinoy Act, which aims to make internet faster and cheaper. How big of a difference could this make, Dennis?
Actually, Konektadong Pinoy is a law to able to open up the competition. In fact, this should be come out with the IRR, and execution is so important, no? And policies. So you want to open up this industry to the small and big ones, no? So we need to come up with the regulation and policy and sharing the infrastructure. In fact, I find with it, but end of the day, the regulation, implementation, execution should be in place. That's why the ICT and NTC work with the telco to come up with a strong IRR to able to make this happen.
That's right, which is why you have the conference next week, Monday and Tuesday, meeting of the minds between the government and the private sector. Because digital transformation isn't just about technology. It also needs strong infrastructure and skilled people. How do we build both? How do we build both simultaneously? The infrastructure and then the manpower to the upskilling we need for this.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about connectivity is one, right? To able to help the country transform digitally. But computing is a cloud, right? And the other one is application, is a soft side, right? If you're talking about application, it's a lot of technology today with the AI factory and AI studio to able to build the vertical industry to be ready, So you're talking this infrastructure should be prepared in the Philippines, which is Convert is forefront right now. We are doing the data center build. Hopefully by end of the year we finish the 2 big data center in the country, and we have also sovereignty cloud to able to provide our local businessman and even our public sector to be hosted our data in locally. And in terms of AI side, we need to prepare to have a data framework and data governance to able to protect our data in the Philippines in the future. And not only that, we need to upskill our talent, and we need to go to academia, back to basic. Imagine China today, at grade 6 students, they are learning about AI, cybersecurity already. So this should be come up strong with partnership with education sector to convert sign agreement with University of Philippines to bring some the best practices curriculum from outside to share with the with the academies.
Yeah, absolutely. In more progressive countries, kids are learning about coding, robotics, and data literacy in school. We're going to have to do something on that education front as well. Dennis, can you tell us what's at risk if we don't get our act together, if the country doesn't work towards digital connectedness?
I think that's a big risk. We will be behind totally. In fact, we so many talented people. We need to put proper align and proper make the ecosystem and make sure there's opportunity for our new talents. Or else our new grads, they're thinking going out and helping other countries, not helping our own country. That is the risk I'm looking at.
And so, Dennis, you're chairing the 51st Philippine Business Conference and Expo next week at a time when technology is reshaping how we work and how we do business. Why should people attend this?
We will showcase the latest. You can see what the solution for the SME and for the enterprise. What is the solution? The big vendors and big technology partners. I've been this for 3 decades. So all my vendors, my partner, I'm encouraged to showcase all the solution. We have 130 tech brands to showcase at 9,200 square meter in Expo venue. And name it, we have Google, we have Tencent, we have Huawei, we have X3C, we have huge company, Vision and Salesforce. All this, including the content provider, we have TikTok, we have Viva, we have Bilyonaryo also there. So I put all this tech in the whole tech industry, not just only hardware, including solutions, including the cloud providers, including what's the best practices from other country. In fact, one of my speaker is the CEO of Neighbor. Neighbor is one of the forefront in terms of digitalization inside the country, not inside the country in Korea, including the world. They're helping Saudi Arabia, they call the Middle East, to become a transform. We have Foxconn. Foxconn is the biggest AI factory in AI manufacturing in the world. We have Tencent, we have ATP. So many big companies show and they want to listen and interested all this, what the success in other countries can bring to us.
Okay, it's going to be fun, it's going to be educational, it's going to be empowering. We're looking forward to your event next week. Thank you so much for your time, Dennis.
Thank you, Maiki.
We're taking a quick break. Please stay with us as we dive deep into the numbers and the narratives that matter most to your bottom line. Welcome back. Let's check on how Asian markets are doing this Friday morning. Right now, the Nikkei 225 is in the red, lower by 0.8%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index down by more, down by 1.32% in early trade. Shanghai's Composite down by 0.9%, and Singapore's Straits Times Index lower by 0.6%. Here at home, Philippine shares ended Thursday's session unchanged as investors took a pause after a slow but steady 3-day climb and turned cautious ahead of the earnings season. PSE index closed flat at 60.93, with buying and selling pressures evenly matched throughout the day. Analysts say traders are now positioning ahead of corporate results, while others are opting to take profits following the market's recent rise. Value turnover stayed subdued, reflecting a wait-and-see mood amid lingering uncertainty over policy signals and global markets. Now, this flat finish tells us that investors remain guarded, waiting for fresh catalysts and stronger earnings clues before making any big moves. Taking a look at the main gauge this morning, as of 10:20, the PSE index is in the green, up by 0.25% to 61.09. All shares index up as well, up by 0.2% to 37.79. Taking a look at these sub-indices, the industrial and property counters are limiting the market's advance right now. Total volume traded is at 86 million shares, very thin, valued at also a very thin 389 million pesos. Market breadth is positive with 66 advancers, 43 decliners, 36 stocks unchanged. Taking a look at the currencies, the peso opened at 58.02 to the greenback, up from its previous close of 58.13. In other news, a controversial campaign donation is back in the spotlight as the Commission on Elections nears a decision on a case involving Senator Francis Chiz Escudero. The issue, a 30 million peso contribution from a government contractor back in 2022. COMELEC Chairman George Erwin Garcia said that the Political, Finance and Affairs Department is expected to issue its recommendation within 2 weeks. The donation came from Lawrence Lubiano, president of Centerways Construction, possibly violating election laws that bar government contractors from making political contributions. Escudero has admitted to accepting the donation, but denied helping the company secure flood control projects. Garcia stressed that the senator's affidavit explaining the donation is not enough, saying that the case remains under review and could lead to legal consequences for both the donor and the recipient if found in violation of the election code. Now, power moves at the top. Bilyonaryo Robert Coyuto Jr. steps down as vice chairman and director of Synergy Grid and Development Philippines after 13 years on that board. Coyuto and fellow ultra-billionaryo Henry Big Boy C. Jr., who remains chairman, each hold a 38.94% stake in SGP. His exit comes amid talks that the Maharlika Investment Fund may finalize a deal to acquire a 20% stake in SGP, which owns 40.2% of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. Coyuto's board seat has been filled by Chief Financial Officer Justice Lady Soriano, while investment banker Daniel Ibasco also joins the board. If the Maharlika deal pushes through, it would give the sovereign fund 2 seats each in the boards of SGP and NGCP. Now, Century Pacific Food is tapping into new growth opportunities, investing $45 million to expand its coconut processing capacity as global demand for coconut products continues to rise. The company said that the funds will go toward acquiring and upgrading a fully integrated facility in Tupi, South Cotabato, from Rojas Sigma Agri-Ventures Incorporated through its subsidiary Coco Harvest Incorporated. The deal marks CNPF's third coconut processing plant in the country after its existing facilities in General Santos and in Misamis Occidental, the latter acquired in 2024. CNPF said that the investment will be funded through internally generated cash flows. The company says that the expansion strengthens its position in the export market for high-value coconut products, including coconut cream, coconut milk, virgin coconut oil, and coconut water concentrate. Now, here's what's making headlines overseas. U.S. President Donald Trump warns that Washington could step in if Hamas fails to uphold its ceasefire commitments in Gaza. He added that more bodies of hostages held by Hamas have been returned to Israel. Hamas earlier said that the return of hostages' bodies may take time, as some were buried in tunnels destroyed by Israel, while others remain under rubble from strikes.
It's a tough situation. They brought back bodies today, as you probably know. But they also said they're going to behave. We're going to find out if they behave. If they behave, good. If they don't behave, we'll take care of it.
And in another developing story from Washington, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent warns that the ongoing federal government shutdown is taking a heavy toll on the economy. Initially estimated at $15 billion a day, later clarified to $15 billion a week by a Treasury official. The Treasury official said that the revised estimate was based on data from the White House Council of Economic Advisors. Bessent warned that the shutdown was starting to, quote, cut into the muscle of the U.S. economy, urging Democrats to, quote, be heroes and work with Republicans to end the stalemate.
We call on the moderate Democrats in the Senate to be heroes. Be heroes. Break away from the hive of radicalism and do something for the American people, because we are starting to cut into the muscle here. We believe that the shutdown may start costing the U.S. economy up to $15 billion a day, and this is a decision the Democrats are making.
And that's it for Business 360. I'm Maiki Oreta. Thank you for joining us, and keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel, and have a good weekend.